What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody, back again with another video, and this time doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be reacting to a video by a content creator by the name of Wheelie Steve, who was in my streams the other day, and he asked me kindly if I can watch his video and react to it. And he has a very fresh perspective on Phil, being a disabled person himself. He's a bit concerned that Phil might be exploiting disabled people in his streams and chat. And of course, if you watch any of my content or any other detractor content, you know that we've pointed that out for years, that Phil, there's a good amount of people on his stream that just don't seem to be mentally stable or well. And many of them do have certain disabilities, and people like Phil exploit those type of people. I complete 100% with your assessment. The reason why I want to check this out is because this individual by the name of Steve is disabled himself. So I thought maybe this would be a good video. I'd like to hear his perspective on why he believes that Phil exploits disabled individuals. So again, the video is 27 minutes long. We're not going to watch it all. We're going to watch certain bits and pieces that I'm interested in. I'm going to be putting a description of the video in the description of my video. I'm going to put a link to the video in my description. Give him a like, give him a sub, watch his video, give him a view. That would be nice. And if you want to add a comment, maybe tell him Doody sent you. That would be very nice. Doody would appreciate it. So again, let's watch it, and yeah, let's go.
It recently came to my attention that, in fact, not everybody knows who Darkside Phil is, which I've been on the internet a long time, so I just kind of assumed everybody did. But for the benefit of those who don't know who Darkside Phil is, Darkside Phil, would you like to introduce yourself?
Brainless twits, mouth droolers, the followers, the sheep.
Sorry about that. He does get a bit like that sometimes. He'll calm down eventually, but for the time being, I think I'll talk for Darkside Phil until he chills out a little bit. Yeah. Now, DSP has been online for a long time. 16 going on 17 years probably now. And for the majority of that time, I was under the impression that Darkside Phil was basically just a streamer, a YouTuber who played games pretty badly, which many of us do. I play games very badly, as some of you are about to find out when I start streaming again. And, you know what, on top of that, okay, sometimes it can be a little bit annoying. That would not be enough for me to make a video on Darkside Phil. No. I really didn't ever intend on talking about Darkside Phil. But that changed a few months ago. When I was scrolling around YouTube one day, I came across a video from somebody talking about why they support Darkside Phil. Because you see, Darkside Phil's entire business operandi in the modern day is simply play video games badly, even though he says he's amazing. And if he ever loses, it's not his fault, guys. Not his fault.
Oh, of course, that beats my scissor.
Shout out to Mighty D for the video. I completely agree with him 100%. And this individual that he is referring to, I know exactly who he is, because the gentleman spent a good deal amount of time trying to troll me and get me to watch his videos and react to it. And he would spam my videos with comments. And he even DM'd me on Twitter. So I know exactly who it is this guy's referring to. And I've never bothered going after him or making a video or commenting, because you can just clearly see that the individual doesn't have all of his bearings. Like, he's just not all there. You can see he has a mental disability. And, you know, Doody doesn't like to, first of all, Doody doesn't like to really attack or go after the Phil's viewers. It's just not my style. I may make a video or comment on someone that's extremely egregious, like Derek and so on. But for the most part, I tend to leave his viewers alone. I tend to focus on Phil. So I know exactly who this person is. I'm not going to blow up the guy's name. But if you go to YouTube, you can see exactly who it is that he's referring to here. So real quick, let's just bounce around. Let's go here to the realization.
And I realized that I think there was more going on than I ever knew with Darkside Phil.
Correct.
So, just coincidentally, while...
So let me stop you here. You'll be shocked how many people actually say this who don't know about Darkside Phil. Like, I've known people who've just accidentally came across a DSP video or a detractor video, and they wonder, they're like, why does this guy have so much hate? And I direct them to just a couple videos, just cursory videos that I keep in my back pocket. And after these people watch the video, they are shocked that someone like Phil exists, to the point where many of them think it's just an act. They think he's just being an actor or whatever. They can't believe that someone like Phil actually exists. And of course I say, nope, this is him. If you don't believe me, go check out his content. And many of them actually go check out his content and they say, my God, I can't believe this guy is this way. So, yep, there you go.
Whilst I was checking out more of Phil's content, not just streams, but other people's videos made about him, a bit of drama happened. One of Phil's biggest contributors, somebody who would pay Phil money quite regularly, suddenly went a bit rogue. And they said, I could give Darkside Phil $1,000 today, and tomorrow he wouldn't care. He wouldn't care. He would just be saying, oh, I need to make money today, guys. In fact, he wouldn't just say that, but if I gave him $1,000, he would say, maybe we can hit the $1,200 goal. He would never be enough. And this guy came to that realization on his own. So much so that he did his own stream about it. You know?
Ah, yes, he's referring to Iron Chef Sakai, Super Den. But of course, sadly, Iron Chef Sakai, being that no one accepted him in the Detractorverse, he crawled back to Phil and continued giving Phil money like the cuck he is. But yes, and what he's saying here is true. And I'm surprised he might be new to DSP, which is fine. I mean, not everyone knows all the lore. But that's not the first time, Steve. Phil has done this multiple times. There have been multiple whales that have spazzed out on Phil, cursed him out on stream, and sadly, many of them have come back. Snow Carl, just to name a few, where they've literally got into a verbal fight and altercation with Phil on stream. They said goodbye, and sadly, many of them come back. Some of them don't. Some of them actually break what we call pignosis, and they just, people like King B. Crew, Jordan, just to name a few, But I guess I would, if Steve is curious, he should watch a little bit of more DSP Detractor content, and you'll see hundreds of videos out there of Phil just being verbally abusive to people, and some people finally waking up and getting tired of it and leaving. Yes.
You know what happened a week later? This same person was right back.
Ah, yes.
Giving Darkside Phil not just a little bit, a lot of money. This is what I mean when I say there seems to be people who are giving DSP money who are not great at making decisions themselves. And it goes deeper. So the DSP has this system where if he hits his goals, then he'll add it to a tally, and if it reaches a certain tally, well, now the viewers get a reward. And he'll hang this reward over his viewers and constantly mention just, if we hit 3 more goals, guys, we'll make it to the reward, and then we can do a DSP tries it. What's a DSP tries it? It sounds fun. This is a reward for the viewers. No, do you know what? That's nice, right? That's a good thing. He's a humble man. You want to know what DSP tries it is? You want to know what the reward is? This. Yeah, that's it.
Chicken nuggets.
DSP, quite literally, orders food that most of the time he already knows he likes and eats it. Now, but remember, DSP is a gaming channel, right? He's not a mukbang channel. His audience aren't there for food. They're there for games. And the best part about it is, whenever he does one of these, you'll constantly see it in his chat. Constantly, people saying, this isn't much of a reward, just watching him eat food. And yet, whenever he dangles that idea of a reward over people's heads, that gets people to donate. And it's this kind of tactic that makes me believe that there are people giving him money who he is able to manipulate into doing so. I don't think, and look, if I'm wrong about this, I will hold my hands up. But I believe, I really do, that when I've looked at the tactic, when I've looked at the people in his chat, when I've looked at the people who are talking, giving money, their patterns of the way that they do things, I think he is purposely going after vulnerable people. And at the same time, being as obnoxious as he can be, because he knows that's going to scare off. That's going to scare off regular folks who might oppose him. and then he's got the vulnerable people just there to pick off and hang those rewards above their heads, and it happens daily. This is daily. This is every day.
Okay, so I agree with him. I do agree with him. Let me just say this. So I actually find that point that he just said right now is that Phil is obnoxious to people because he wants to scare off the normal people. The normal people that would call him out on his bullshit, which happens a lot. Occasionally, you'll have a few people in the streams that will look at him and say, wait a minute, why are you being this way? Why are you acting this way? Why are you doing these goals? And they call him out on his bullshit. And typically, if those people are, if they object, Phil will tolerate them. But if they push the issue, Phil will ban them. But I've never really thought about it that way. That's actually a pretty good point, and that's something I'll need to delve into a little bit more. But maybe the reason why Phil is obnoxious is because he wants to scare away some of the normies so that he can continue his poor behavior. That's a good point. That's a really good point. That's something I've never really thought about. My mindset on Phil is that he's just an obnoxious douchebag. He's someone that's very entitled. He's someone who feels that the world owes him, and that because his lot in life didn't turn out the way he wanted it to turn out to be, like he wanted to be big as PewDiePie, he wanted to marry someone, he wanted to travel, he wanted to do all of these things that just never happened because he's lazy. That's the big reason. And he's just he really is. I mean, if you can go to his Street Fighter days, obnoxious. Everyone that's come in contact with Phil has always said the same thing about him. He's an obnoxious douchebag. So, I need to think about that a little bit more. But, I've never really thought about that. Maybe he is the obnoxious douchebag because he's trying to scare away normal people. Like, he doesn't want those people in his chat because he's worried that maybe they may convince others. And I'll actually give you, so I had an interesting situation. Many of you guys know that watch my content with an individual named Jordan who supported Phil. And this person reached out to me and said, hey, I have a couple questions. I saw some of your videos. You don't seem like a crazy person. Can you tell me a little bit about WWE? Like, do you have proof or whatever? And I pointed them to some videos, and they came back and said, wow, I feel like an idiot. That is true. He is this. And the guy didn't go off on Phil. He basically sent them a message and said, yeah, I'm done. And he said, I didn't like that you lied about WWE champions. And Phil literally went off on the guy. He banned him. He went off on him. He started screaming about me, that I brainwashed him, that I threatened to die. All of these lies. So much so that I had to actually ask Jordan to put a tweet out there to say he reached out to me and so on. So I always thought that, and the reason why I bring this up is because one of the things that Phil actually said was, this hurts my business. This hurts my business. When people come in on stream and start saying what Jordan was saying, which wasn't much. I mean, he just agreed that he was down from the Raptors, and he didn't like that Phil was spending his money on WWE champions. But of course, Phil saw that and said, well, you know what? If this guy's coming on my stream and saying that Phil lied and he is down for it and he's spending money on mobile games, he may scare other whales away from supporting Phil. That's what Phil was worried about. Not about the truth, not about Jordan, not about any of that. What Phil worried about was that his support would get, that potentially his support or a supporter would stop supporting because of what someone like Jordan was saying. So, and I just bring that up because that's just one person in the line of many who have donated to Phil in the past, and for some reason, either Phil pissed them off or, they just realized that Phil's a scammer. They stopped supporting, and Phil turned around and attacked them, just like the Dutch brothers and so on. So, let's keep going.
Just this. Now, there is a number of people who are in Darkside Phil's regulars who are confirmed to be disabled. Like, they're physically disabled, maybe they're also mentally disabled, but they are confirmed. And again, I'm not going to name anyone outright, I don't want to, but it is known that several of the regular people who go onto his streams are disabled. 100%. That's not me just guessing, that is, as far as we know, fact. And he doesn't talk to people in a way that you talk to regular adults. This is a 43-year-old man, 42, 43, whatever it is. And he doesn't talk to what you talk to adults like. He talks to his audience like they are literal children.
We're at 177 likes. Let's get it to 200, guys. We're so close. But outside of that, guys, this is it. This is the last hour. This is the final countdown to continue the King Streak. We're at 12 straight. And the only game that let us down was Black Myth Wukong. Please.
Yes, that's the reason why he blows bubbles. That's why he gets dressed like a clown. That's why he puts on a vest and a hat and so on, because these are things that children enjoy. That's why he likes the shiny RGB lighting and all that. He literally thinks that this is what the young kids like. Yes, that's why he's called the children's entertainer. It's the other reason why he loves playing games like Disney Princess, those type of Disney games, because typically younger people like that kind of content, and that's why Phil does it. So yeah, 100%.
Support the stream. Let's keep that streak alive. Let's get a new top tipper at $12 to push us into at least tier 2. All right, and keep going. Let's keep the streak alive and keep it moving. All right, guys. Again, I don't want to harp on it. I don't want to talk on it constantly. Please, let's keep the King Streak alive. All right, we only have an hour left. All right. Ryudo Mastermind, 40 months as a member. Says, I love all your improvements. Keep it up, King. Thank you so much, Ryudo Mastermind. I appreciate that. If you guys are enjoying the stream, we're trying to keep the King's streak alive today and hit 13 straight streams of hitting my tips goals. Right now, we only have an hour left on the stream, so please, if you guys can tip today, please do. Let's keep it going. Keep that positivity and momentum moving. It's been great. I received an incredibly generous $1.50 tip. All right, guys, we got about a little over half an hour left on the stream. Okay, please support it. Last chance to really do so. I was really hoping that this was going to go over well and you guys were going to like it. My first ever modded run in anything. But I'll be honest, I don't really think it's working as well as I had hoped. I thought more people would be excited for a modded run that's this challenging. It's much more challenging than the base game.
Now, I'm not an idiot, all right? I know there's going to be a couple of people in Darkside Phil's audience who are just, for one reason or another, intent on throwing money at him, and they're perfectly fine. You know what? This isn't about them. The point I'm getting at is that having looked at Phil as much as I have over the last few months, and believe me, I have obliterated my YouTube algorithm for this. Like, my YouTube search is fucking inundated with DSP. I have ruined the results that I'm going to be getting from YouTube recommends for the next several months. I'm just going to be getting DSP content constantly fired at me. So
Well, hopefully you'll get a Doody video, and because Doody owns the algorithm. Doody owns DSP algorithm, so my apologies. Hopefully you'll find a couple funny videos in there that you enjoy.
I've been watching a lot of this guy's shit, and I really do think he is going after, targeting, and segmenting the most vulnerable people who will come across him. And fuck, like, I don't want to sit here and make myself like the chairman of disabled people. But at the same time, I feel like somebody who is disabled needs to actually call this out. Because if anybody... See, DSP will often say that people can go into, and, you go into his chat, and normal people go into his chat, right? But like I say, if a regular person goes into DSP chat, and they bring up anything that might be oppositional to DSP, even just a smidge, well, DSP has an answer for that.
Yo, how about this? Banned. Gone. Forever. Because I don't put up with your fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no, that's it. You're not going to be able to bring up any concerns you might have to DSP, because he will immediately just fuck you off. No, not interested. And so, there's no way to communicate with DSP. Unless you're licking his ass. Oh, then he'll be more than reciprocal. But to hear DSP talk about everything, you would think that, no, all of the people who are giving him money, they're just people who enjoy his content, guys. They love his content. He's just so good and so beloved. But just a very, very quick check online. You will see that that's not true.
Searching for Darkside Phil or DSP Gaming, you're going to get 400 stupid bullshit videos. And that's what I mean. They are bullshit. Anyone who has a brain goes over there, watches them for 10 seconds, is like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with these people? And then they move on. It's only these weird, very, very gullible, susceptible, weak-minded people who even watch that kind of content. Except they found a group of very weak-minded.
Yeah, that's what we call pignosis, where he tries to actually convince people that what they're actually seeing doesn't exist. He shits all over me, but every time he talks crap about my content, I simply point to the fact that I triple his views, which is always funny.
Very hyper-focused individuals who can't help themselves then just have a mania, because that's really what it is. It's actually insanity. It's a mania. Normal people.
Yeah, the person that has to do his schedule and calendar 18,000 times a week, talking about a mania and hyper focus. Okay, Phil.
People would never act like that or feel like that.
The only reason people don't hear about Darkside Phil more is because everyone's already talked about Darkside Phil for years. But what I think is happening with that is it's allowed Darkside Phil to go under the radar and exploit people who are, like I've said, vulnerable. And I don't want to keep repeating myself. So here's what I'm going to propose.
100%. And you know what? No, don't apologize for repeating yourself. That's how you get the message out, is by repeating yourself. I've made countless videos about Phil talking about that he's an e-beggar, that he's this, that he's that, and I've repeated myself over and over and over again. I mean, everything I've said on this video, I've said 1,000 times, but that's how you get the message out about Phil. Like, when I make videos about Phil, what I eventually would like to yeah, the views are good, the ad revenue is nice, so on. But what I would hope is that someone that potentially might want to give Phil a shot watches a video of Phil, not curated by Phil, but watch just a detractor video, watch a clip, or watch commentary. And I want them to see who the hell this person is. Like, seriously, because it's difficult to gauge someone without watching 9 hours of their content, right? Because let's be honest, for that 9 hours, Phil's just sitting there and, whatever. He's either being quiet or engaging or playing a video game. But within those 9 hours, I guarantee you 2 of them, or 2 hours of that 9-hour content, are just toxic ass content where Phil's being belligerent, where he's cursing people out, where he's banning people, where he doesn't want to hear criticism, where he's begging nonstop. Those are the times, that's the period of time that I like to focus on and make videos apart. Like, I won't make a video about Phil just talking about something stupid. I'll make a video on a portion that makes him look terrible. Because what I hope is that when people search for gaming and they search for Darkside Phil, they'll see one of my videos and they'll see the scumbag he is, and maybe reconsider their life choice. So don't feel bad about repeating yourself. Trust me. Detractor content, well, I know you're not a detractor, but content that is regularly disseminated about people like, locales like Phil, the repetition is what gets the word out. Because if you hear it enough, you'll tend to, not that you tend to believe it, but you'll tend to agree that if so many people dislike this individual, there must be something to it. Like, there must be some truth behind what people are saying. And what I hope is that they actually do their own. I don't want them to watch a Doody video and just say, oh, Phil's a scumbag. I want them to do their own research and see why people think Phil is a scumbag. Because Phil can't counter that. Phil can say my content is garbage, it's for mouth breathers, only stupid people watch it, right? He could do that, but he can't counter anything within those videos. Like, the content of those videos, Phil can't dispute it. Because most of the time when people clip him, they're not clipping him out of content. They're not context. They're not clipping and altering the content. They're clipping raw videos of Phil and his poor behavior.
Let's do something about it. Darkside Phil. Because I know Darkside Phil's gonna see. Like, if this video actually gets some views, DSP will see this and he'll probably watch it because he probably watches everything about himself because he's a fucking narcissist. So, DSP, I have a proposition for you. You always make out that, you're a good guy, right? You're a good guy. Okay, you've come out and said before that we shouldn't say the word retarded, which, my opinion on that. Say it if you want. But you've said that you shouldn't say the word retarded, even though I don't think you know why people say that. You just sort of know in your mind that people say that you shouldn't say it, so you say that. But then you'll say the word mouth rulers, which arguably is a lot worse. And you'll say that. Just
agreed.
Whatever. But you say you're a good guy, so I'll tell you what. You got me.
Agreed. Mouth drooler to me is worse than retarded. And I think everyone knows I've talked about my daughter in the past. I have a special needs daughter. She's autistic. And I don't get offended when people say you're autistic or you have autism or whatever. I understand the point that they're trying to get. They're not trying to denigrate autistic people. They're just trying to say that this person has a mental problem, which I completely understand. So, yeah. He just doesn't say it because he's worried someone's going to report him. Not that he thinks it's morally wrong. It's that he doesn't want to get in trouble. And yes, mouth drooler to me is way worse than saying the word retarded or whatever. To me, it's way worse because you're not only making fun of their mental capacities, you're making fun of their physical attributes and problems. And what gets me is that he has one particular viewer, a very dedicated viewer, who drops almost $40 a month on him on ultra memberships, right? By the name of Jade, which most of the community loves Jade and feel bad for Jade. And he is literally someone who is physically disabled to the point where they need that kind of assistance because, and I hate to say this, but they drool from their mouth. I mean, their disability is that it's difficult for them to control their bodily functions. So when Phil does that, he doesn't realize that he's literally mocking someone that truly is disabled. He can't see that. To him, he thinks, oh no, Jade is different. Or Jade understands. Like, he's normal because he likes Dark Side Phil. I'm only talking about the mouth droolers who don't support Dark Side Phil. So if you're disabled and you mouth drool and you don't like DSP, that's who he's referring to here. That's who he's mocking.
Me right here, okay? I'm a disabled guy. All right. And let me just first of all, DSP, let me just put forward with this now. Okay. There's going to be a couple of things that you're going to say to me. I know this. So let me refute them. First of all, you're going to say this.
I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not bothering anyone. So why are you on my case? Because you found a way to monetize it.
Whoop, swing and a miss. No, I'm not monetized on YouTube. I'm not monetized on Twitch. I'm not monetized anywhere. So no, I'm not doing this for the money. And secondly, you'll probably also say this.
If you have an issue with people who like my content and come by and support it, all right? Number one, I know you're jealous. It's just the truth. You're a jealous motherfucker who wishes that you had someone who liked you and your content who would actually come support you. That's the only reason you have an issue.
Okay, it's got me there. Yes, I would like people to enjoy my videos and stuff. I think anybody would, to be honest. But, that doesn't really affect whether or not I want to talk about you. Also, I'm not one of your detractors. So I'm not doing this just to be another guy who's hopping on the detractor train. No. With that out the way, you want to be a good guy? You want to uplift some disabled people to prove that you don't just see disabled people as piggy banks? Put me on your show. I'll do it. I will work around you, Darkside Phil. I do have trouble sticking to schedules because my disability can flare up, like my issues can flare up at any moment, but I will do my damnedest to work on your schedule, Phil. You see, this is another thing about Phil that you might not know. Quite recently, on his podcast, just randomly, he offered to talk to someone who he's had a bit of a beef with for years. And he just outright one day said, come on my channel this week. And he didn't try to communicate with this guy in any way or contact him. There was just one tiny issue with that. The guy who he was inviting to go onto his channel, well, the guy's dying of cancer right now. He's not well. In fact, he's very unwell. And so, he's got a few things that are going on that are a little bit more important than going on Darkside Phil's fucking channel. Well, I got nothing going on. So DSP, I'm offering to go on your channel. Whenever you want. And you can, I will give you the floor and you can convince me that not only are there not really disabled people who are the ones contributing to you, but also you wouldn't even want that money from disabled people because you know that would be taking advantage of vulnerable people. Convince me of that. I don't think he's going to accept.
No, probably not. And he's uncomfortable around disabled people. He's comfortable around very large people that have disabilities. He's just that type of person. And some of that is that he worries he might insult you and get himself in trouble. Not that he's just compassionate. It's just he's worried that he'll get in trouble. Yeah, 100% you're right. You're right regarding Medicare and how just insensitive he is. He just doesn't realize it. He doesn't understand. He knows this guy's in hospice and doesn't have much time. But yet try to clout chase him because his documentary was going to come out. And yeah, 100%. I mean, this is Phil. This is who Phil is. Regarding trying to convince you that he doesn't take advantage of disabled people, you know, he'll tell you, well, I don't look at people that way. I don't care if you're disabled. It's like I don't care if you're black or if you're a woman or if you're bisexual. I don't care about those things. I don't see those things like that. That's the nonsense that Phil will give you, and the justification to show. But yeah, I mean, I always make it a point and say that when people wail out on Phil, regardless of whether they're disabled or not, I've seen many people support Phil and say, hey, Phil, I just lost my job, but I want to throw some money your way because I heard you're having a rough time. There were there were supporters like Timbo Slice who were in their third bankruptcy wailing out on Phil. And you would think that Phil would just cursory say something like, hey, you know what? You just lost your job. Maybe you shouldn't be tipping me, or maybe you shouldn't be supporting me. Take care of yourself. I appreciate it, but thank you, but no thank you. Keep it. Take care of yourself. You need it more than I do. Phil has never, ever said that. So regardless if a person is disabled or not, do you really think Phil's going to do that? And Jade is a prime example. Jade seems like a very nice guy. It looks like he mostly stays at home and he watches Phil's content, right? Not only is he just a member, which is what, $4 out of his pocket, he's an ultra member. God knows why he's an ultra member, because he doesn't get any benefit out of it. But he literally gives him $20 a month, right? And then Phil decided, when he created DSP Reacts, he decided that he was going to do 3 levels of tiers for that channel, and one of them was ultra member for $20. And Jade, for whatever reason, decided that he should support him and become a member of that channel, and he literally gives him $40 a month. And you would think that Phil would say, hey, wait a minute, you're disabled. You're probably living off of, the government. You probably have assistance. Maybe you shouldn't be throwing $40 my way every month. Maybe you should be a member, but just be the standard member where it's $4 and I'd appreciate it. And that's it. You know what I mean? But no, Phil would never do that, because of course, Phil doesn't care what issues or problems people are facing. He just simply cares about his problem. And again, I mean, you can go all the way to War Dog, where the guy came on after he broke up with Panda Lee and started saying, dude, my brother just died. Like, I just lost my brother. I'm not sitting here whining and complaining. I'm trying to live my life and do the best. And the guy, Phil, just went off on him. Like, no sympathy whatsoever. He just told him that his brother passed away. And he saw it as, no, I don't care that your brother passed away. We're not talking about your brother. We're talking about me. And I'm feeling terrible because I don't have anyone to cook and clean my house. Literally, that's what Phil was trying to prove here. And he insulted the guy and banned the guy, a supporter, a viewer. I think he was a moderator at a given time. But again, he just doesn't give a shit. He really, really just doesn't give a fuck. And he doesn't care whether you're disabled, whether you have mental problems or anything. Phil just doesn't really, really care. He just doesn't. And to you, he'll look at you and be like, oh, you don't have anything. Like, he'll look at you and see that you have 2,600 subscribers. And to him, he'll say, well, I'm a 200,000 subs. I'm Dark Side Phil. I used to get 13 million views a month. Used to, of course. But he'll look at you and say, you're not big enough to be on his podcast. And he won't give you no attention. He won't pay you any mind. And that's what Phil does, just because you're not a big enough content creator. Because he sees you as a liability. If he has you on and you make him look ridiculous, which you probably would, it would just be a liability. He has nothing to gain from it. He has no goodwill to gain. He has no monetary gain from it. He just sees it as a loss. And again, you're not a big enough YouTube creator or content creator for him to have on his channel. And that doesn't speak about you, Steve. You seem like a really good guy. You seem like a nice guy. And I wish you the best. It doesn't speak ill about you. It speaks ill about Phil. Okay? So, yeah, I really like this video. It's really, really good. Again, I didn't want to watch the whole thing because I just didn't want to watch, I'd rather have you guys go watch his content, give him a view, give him a like, give him a sub, And just to let you know, Steve, I would love to have you on the Meaningful Podcast. That's right. I'm announcing it right now. If Steve would like to join me on one of the on an upcoming Meaningful Podcast, we can have a discussion. I'm more than happy to talk about him, talk about his life, talk about his situation. We could talk about his videos. Yeah, I would definitely love that, Steve. So you have an open invitation to come on the Meaningful Podcast. And it would be great, buddy. Let me know. All right, folks. Again, definitely check out his video. It's really good. I saw it yesterday. I watched the whole thing. It's really, really good. But again, I really didn't want to kind of spoil it because I want you to watch it and give him the view. Again, Steve, you seem like a decent guy. Sorry that you had to fall down the rabbit hole that is DSP. Just some advice: if you don't want to make your channel all about DSP, you might want to put a period and just move on. But again, thank you. Much appreciated. Appreciate you reaching out to me. And yeah, give him a sub, give him a like, check out his video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace out.